We all have these big goals, right? Mastering a skill, building something amazing, creating a masterpiece. But have you ever stopped to think, what if the biggest thing holding you back isn't bad luck, or the competition, or even your boss? What if it's been hiding inside you this whole time?
So let me ask you this. What is your worst enemy? I mean, when you set out to do something really important, what's the one thing that always seems to get in your way?
Well, it's probably not what you think. It's not the competition. It's not the market. It's not your boss. It's you. And to be more specific, as Ryan Holiday argues in Ego is the Enemy, it's your own ego.
Okay, so let's get into what we mean by ego. We're not talking about some clinical diagnosis or the Freudian ego here. Nope, we're talking about something way more common, a kind of secret enemy that's working to undermine us at pretty much every single turn.
So this is the enemy we're dealing with. It's that unhealthy belief in our own importance. It's arrogance. It's that self-centered ambition. It's like that little petulant child inside all of us that just needs to be better than, more than, and recognized for, well, everything. It's that voice whispering that we're way better than we actually are, totally distorting our view of reality. And here's what's so fascinating. This enemy attacks us differently at 3 really critical stages of any journey: when we're aspiring, when we succeed, and when we fail.
All right, let's start at the very beginning, that moment you're aspiring to do something great. This is a time when ego is just uniquely dangerous because it forces you to make a choice that can literally define your entire path.
And here's the choice, right here. Do you want to be someone, or do you want to do something? See, the ego always screams for to be. It wants the title, it wants the credit, it wants the appearance of success. But real accomplishment, that's found in the quiet, often thankless hard work of just doing.
So who's a great example of someone who actually chose to do? Well, look no further than the American Civil War general William Tecumseh Sherman. This guy was not flashy at all. His rise to the top was slow, and it was built on a solid foundation of humility. He really understood this quote perfectly. If you just focus on the work, all that glittering flattery from the outside world, it just becomes background noise, like a breeze on a summer day.
What's really remarkable about Sherman is how every single one of his major decisions was an active rejection of his ego. I mean, think about it. Who turns down a promotion because they know they're not ready for it, or waives their rank just to help a colleague succeed? He consistently put the mission above his own glory. And that humility, it wasn't a weakness, it was his greatest strategic weapon.
But what happens when all that humble, hard work actually pays off? What happens when you succeed? Well, this is where the danger shifts. Because success is intoxicating. And that's the exact moment your ego tries to grab the steering wheel. And for a tragic contrast to Sherman's path, you don't have to look much further than Howard Hughes. The man was an absolute genius, no doubt. But his success was chained to this colossal ego. It led him to waste fortunes on vanity projects, alienate pretty much everyone in his life, and ultimately die alone and miserable. His story is just this powerful, powerful warning. Success without humility can be a death sentence.
And this brings us to another critical choice, but this time it happens in success. Do you start telling yourself a story, believing your own hype, that you were destined for all this? Or do you stay a student knowing that yesterday's wins don't guarantee a thing tomorrow?
The perfect antidote to the ego of success comes from the legendary football coach Bill Walsh. When he took over a totally failing team, he didn't give some big speech about winning championships. Nope, he obsessed over something he called a standard of performance. Every tiny detail had to be excellent. He knew that the ego loves to tell stories about big, glorious wins, but real, sustainable success, that's built by focusing on the process, not the prize. If the details are right, the score takes care of itself.
But of course, no success lasts forever, right? We all stumble, we all fail. It's inevitable. And it's in these lowest moments that our ego can be at its most destructive, turning a simple setback into a total catastrophe.
Just think about Katharine Graham. After a personal tragedy thrust her into leading the Washington Post, she faced one insane crisis after another. Seriously, any one of them would have broken most people. But she didn't have time for self-pity or for her ego to get in the way. She just had a job to do. Her story really shows that true resilience isn't about swagger or bravado, it's about purpose.
So, when failure hits, we're faced with this really critical choice. Is this going to be dead time, where we just sit around, wait, feel sorry for ourselves, and blame other people? Or are we going to choose a live time and use this adversity as fuel to learn, to act, and to become stronger? I mean, think about Malcolm X. A 10-year prison sentence. That should have been the end. 10 years of dead time. But instead, he turned prison into his own personal university. By choosing a live time, he transformed his greatest failure into the very foundation of his life's work. He said he had never been so truly free in his life.
Okay, so we've seen how the ego ambushes us when we're aspiring, when we're successful, and when we fail. So the big question is, what can we actually do about it? How do we tame this enemy that lives inside us?
All right, the book lays out 3 really powerful strategies. First up, trade that frantic, emotional passion for a clear-eyed purpose. Purpose is calmer, it's stronger. Second, build your own inner scorecard. You have to stop looking outside for validation and start measuring yourself against your own potential. And finally, and this is a big one, reject the ego's pull toward hate and resentment. It's a poison, and it only hurts you.
And really, this all comes down to a final thought from the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius. He says that ambition is tying your well-being to what other people say or do, but sanity? Sanity means tying it to your own actions. So that's the final question for you. Where's your well-being tied? Is it tied to the chaotic world of external applause or to the steady internal world of your own principles? Because ultimately, that choice is always yours.